British were the last major European power to compete for colonies in the Western Hemisphere. The first permanent colony was in Jamestown, and it was established in 1607. Most of the colonies consisted of families who left England to get away from the Church of England, the Pilgrims, or to purify it, the Puritans. The English colonists were proud and pleased to be English, and they sought to copy the traditions they believed formed the foundations of the English society. It's amazing to look back on the history of the country we live in and see what a major influence the British truly were in the United States gaining their independence from their beloved mother country. I've always been fascinated by history, and I would love to share my passions for my country with you. All the way until 1763, most of the colonists still felt pleased and supportive of the British legal and economic system. They were happy and proud to be British. If things did not play out the way that they did, there was a major chance that you and I could be living in Great Britain today. During our time together, I would love to explain the reasons why America felt the need to break away from their mother country, along with how England's government and legal traditions contributed to the forming of the United States of America. The first thing I would like to talk about is the French and Indian War and the taxes that followed as a result. The French and Indian War officially ended in 1763. This war left England £130 million in debt. In order to replenish the treasury, England passed two specific taxes, the Sugar Act and the Stamp Act. The first act Parliament passed was called the Sugar Act, and it was passed in 1764. The Sugar Act was intended to raise revenue through a tighter enforcement of trade restrictions. In protest of this tax, the colonists pledged themselves not to buy or use certain British goods, especially sugar. England actually spent more money trying to enforce this tax than the money they were gaining from the tax. As a result of this, the Sugar Act was repealed. The second act Parliament passed was in 1765, and it was called the Stamp Act. The Stamp Act was the first attempt to raise money directly through a new tax. This act required a direct tax on newspapers, pamphlets, license, and commercial and legal documents. This tax was the most obvious and annoying, and it affected the most influential and educational member of the colonies. According to Thomas Paine, these taxes would not stop unless America was free from Great Britain. America becoming independent from England was a very hard thing to accomplish because the colonies were so dependent on England. How England made the colonies so dependent on them was by regulating trade through a process called mercantilism and monopolies. Mercantilism is a form of trade that, when it works correctly, all profits gained from trading end up back in English treasury. This is done by having any goods traded to other countries taxed, and the revenue was sent straight back to England. How this affected the colonies was because as they would sell goods to England, a bill of credit instead of actual gold and silver would repay them. Because of the colonists bought everything with their bill of credit, most of them overdrew their account and became indebted to England. Another way England took control over the trading in the colonies was by having monopolies. According to Simon Keller, this meant the colonies could only trade crops and goods to certain companies and only buy goods from certain companies, regardless of the price. They were not allowed to trade goods with any other countries, regardless of their offer. The first line in the Declaration of Independence states, "When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another." To me, this means that it was absolutely necessary for the colonies to break away from the Great Britain because they were being so oppressed by the monopolies and taxes. Many of the colonists had an appreciation of the British government system. The reason why is because they believed all citizens were represented in some way. The Founding Fathers tried to recreate this by creating a republican government. Due to the colonists' experience with the British monarchy, they wanted a different form of government. This led to the formation of the republican principles that our government is based on today. According to American foundations, the definition of a republic is that the people elect the representatives, and then the representatives make the law. Based on this, all citizens have a vote, but it is not mob rule. They chose a republican government because it gave equal rights to all citizens. America is the perfect country to live in, and I hope now that you now have an understanding of just how much Great Britain influenced the creation of America. Great Britain has influenced the creation of America's government and legal system. If it were not for the major tax additions and the negative consequences that came from the French and Indian War, America may never have been born. It's amazing to see how small effects can create such large ripple effects. I'm so grateful to be a part and live in such an amazing country as the United States of America.